Well, a South African Airways plane took off this morning for the first time since the airline was grounded more than a year ago. The state-owned airline went through a business rescue process that resulted in thousands of staff being retrenched. At this stage, 88 pilots are employed, compared to the 600 with jobs there before the pandemic. For more on this, we can speak to Sibusiso Nxumalo, one of the pilots still fortunate enough to still be with SAA. Sibusiso, good to have you on Newsfeed PM. So you were very excited, I think, 24 hours ago already, you were tweeting that you cannot wait to fly. You're due to take off from Johannesburg, 6:15 tonight? How are you feeling?
Good afternoon to Miguel and good afternoon to your viewers. Firstly, I actually started the countdown 10 days ago, and I've been trying to do a countdown each and every day to this day, the big day, momentous day. And 24 hours ago, I think the excitement and the nerves started to kick in when I realized the significant presence of what's going to happen today. So today, after 18 months, the airline is back in the air. The national flag, the national carrier, will be able to fly the flag. And I'm fortunate enough to be one of the few crew that happen to be part of the relaunch team who's going to fly today.
And often when we talk about the story of SAA, we get caught up rightfully in the business technicalities, in the involvement of certain executives. But ultimately, it's a story about yourselves, the workers. And I'm wondering if in this 18 months you ever lost any hope that today would indeed come.
Oh, Tamila, the past 18 months have been very difficult, as you can imagine. There's nothing that can be detrimental to one's health, mental health, physical health. And the stresses of job insecurity have been quite significant to all the employees. And fortunately, or to say the least, that fortunately the Section 189 application was completed in time. And then the final numbers were populated to fill in the company with the new structure. So with the business rescue process, the COVID-19 epidemic, the lockdown, and all the international restrictions have caused quite a huge ripple effect in the aviation industry. And uncertainty, not only for SAA pilots or SAA employees, it has actually caused an incredible amount of distress globally in the aviation market. And we're hoping now going forward that SAA, the market itself, the product itself, will be able to market itself back to its profitability and that incredible customer service that we were known for internationally.
And that's another thing. When the SAA story began to get really worse, people were saying, SAA staff members such as yourselves as pilots are in fact quite sought after in the global aviation industry. And some people will be asking why it is that you have chosen to stay behind and fly that South African bird.
That's correct. Globally, you would know that we do have airlines such as SAA who are called legacy airlines. So legacy airlines do market themselves when it comes to pay structures and pilot benefits. So when we did marketing for the pay structures for the pilots globally, and we did an index, we came across that the pilots were actually fitting quite well into the global market. So now when we chose to stay, I think it was an individual exercise, commitment as well, more than a business exercise for one. To know that some of our colleagues who are not here today, who took voluntary severance packages and some were retrenched, it's heartbreaking to know that today the relaunch is going to happen. Such a small number of pilots at 88 at this point, from 735 about 2 years ago. So we do recognize that today it's supposed to be an exciting day, which it is, and at the same time it's heartbreaking to know that your colleagues become your family. So some of them are not going to be part of this exciting embargo from the company. So what we're considering and what we're hoping for is that as soon as the airline grows, we know that some of the guys can be able to come back in and be absorbed into the new structure of the company.
You were tweeting when people were commenting on the earlier post about the return to work today, 6:15 when you take off for Cape Town, and you said you're going to do the most. Any special plans for your passengers?
Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna try and be very social media savvy. I'm only familiar with one platform, which is Twitter, but Instagram has been a bit of an issue for me. So what I want to do is to get into social media, use that platform to expose aviation for people who look like me. So trying to identify, so someone who's sitting down at home, a child out there who can identify to a Sibusiso Nxumalo, who looks like him and can say, this guy is actually doing what I'm dreaming of and what I want to do one day. So let's use that platform. It's free, at no cost, and the exposure will be so good that we can have aspiring pilots who can actually now get that bit of a kickback again and understand that it is possible. And I think the resilience of the past 18 months proves that no matter what comes and can be thrown away, you always have to stick to what you believe in. I mean, aviation has been my first love, and it will forever be my first love. And today, it's basically like the renewal of vows for me. So it's like I'm coming back into this, and I'm marking my territory again to this special field that I only know and I've only known, and I think I will forever know. Yes. So this is just to identify with every individual, those who are still in their pilot training phase, those who are still yet to start, and those who want to be pilots, to say that there is someone who looks like you. There is someone who can do it, and there's someone who's currently doing it. And one day, I hope I'll be sitting with someone who's watching this exact interview right next to me in the cockpit, and hopefully they'll be able to say, you inspired me and you showed me. And I'm really impressed, and I'm so proud of all the female pilots that the black female pilots that have started in the airline, the white female pilots, the colored female pilots who are back in the airline. I think that's the market that needs to be identified quite profoundly. And I think the public should just root for those wonderful pilots of ours, very, very incredible pilots. I've flown with so many of them, and they are just amazing.
Sibusiso Nxumalo, such a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for being on Newsfeed PM, and all the best with your first flight tonight after 18 months of duty. Sibusiso will be flying passengers from Johannesburg to Cape Town tonight just after 6 p.m. All the best with that, and really happy for all your colleagues who've been able to return to work after a difficult year.